Hey, welcome back. My name is Dino. This mini lecture is on Baudrillard's Hyperreality and digital life. The focus of the video will be to explore hyperreality's impact on digital life. As you might imagine, let's start with the definition of hyperreality. This is according to the iconic Jean Baudrillard from 1984. It is the generation by models of a real without origin or reality. And I'm going to be applying this more specifically to digital life today. Some examples to help sort of give that definition a bit of a fleshing out. You can have video game environments and landscapes that look hyper realistic, but in fact they're not real. You can have digital maps for fictional lands, or even think of something like a Google Maps where it's like something that looks quite real. It's looks exactly like the actual space it's representing, but it's obviously it's digital. And if you have virtual reality for a new place, such as in a simulation for a video game, etc., etc. Signs are sort of one of the biggest implications for hyperreality, and I'm going to talk more about like us living in an era of simulations and signs. Baudrillard writes, again, this is back in 1984, so it's very sort of prescient. The era of simulation is inaugurated by a liquidation of all referentials. Worse, with their artificial resurrection systems of science and material more malleable than meaning. So basically what he's getting here is the idea of signs taking the place and the precedence over the real. And referent here, the definition halfway through the slide, or this screen, is referent is what a word stands for. So yeah, so we artificially resurrect in signs things that are in digital form, and they can become very malleable especially because they're digital. And the importance of this concept overall. We are surrounded by changing online science systems, especially when we live in an era of online life. Like, say, if you have an avatar, you could change that easily. So, like an avatar is an example of a sign that represents you, and it can be changed very easily. Science can be disconnected from reality. Again, an example is an avatar looks like you. People think it's you, but it's really just a picture of you. And then finally, in terms of interaction, we interact more with signs. More and more with signs and less with reality. So when we're spending more and more time online, we're spending more and more times interacting with things like avatars and less with the actual person underlying that avatar. It's another quote, it is no longer a question of imitation or duplication or even parody, substituting the signs of the real for the real. That is to say, an operation of deterring every real process. So again, when we spend so much time online, we are substituting the signs of the real for the real. So we're interacting more with these signs that represent us than the actual real thing underlying it. What is the impact of this? Again, we're moving away from the real. We're moving to a virtual reality that's not necessarily tethered to reality, or it's tethered less and less because, again, it's virtual. And we're having an increasing immersion in online life, so we're spending more and more time with these types of signs. What is the impact of this? And again, I've sort of sprinkled this idea throughout this presentation so far. Think about, probably the best way is to think about how our lives over the past, especially 15, 20 years, has changed. And it has an impact outside of politics and other things. It's, part of our daily life. So say in the past we used to have a social life. Now we have social media. So we'll have like a socially mediated life through things like Facebook, where we'll like our friends' photos, or Instagram and do the same thing. Before we'd have virtual life, now we have we had real life, now we have virtual life, such as Second Life, which seems to be a little bit less obviously popular these days. I'm sure many people who are watching this might not even know what Second Life is. And you'll have like a thing like the metaverse. So again, that's a virtual sort of reality life that's substituting for a real life. And back in the old days, yes, you used to have photos. Now we have selfies and even game selfies. So people have selfies, they'll put them on Instagram or Facebook. And then even people, like say within Game Station, you're able to actually take selfies of yourself while you're in a game. And one really interesting concept that I thought was really quite interesting is this idea of the inversion. It was supposed to happen in YouTube. And it's the idea that human traffic has become less prevalent, and there's so many bots these days that bot traffic is more. So the algorithms that are sort of surveilling the traffic on like YouTube, for example, and it's many other ones as well, because there's so much bot traffic more than human traffic, it again changes the algorithm. So the algorithms which drive or increasingly drive our daily lives aren't even necessarily driven by human traffic. It's more and more driven by bot traffic. Some related ideas to the things we've just spoken about. Zizek, talking to VPRO, the Dutch broadcaster, talks about images being the new reality when he's bombarded by a bunch of images. And it's so interesting where if we see a really provocative image, that becomes a reality. So if we see like during warfare, a particularly stunning image, that's the new reality, not the actual underlying thing. And this is from way back in '94. Pandora's Box is a blog, a female blogging back in the day. She talks about cyberspace as being a black hole. It absorbs energy and personality and represents it as spectacle. So it's like when we talk about cyberspace and the internet, when we're interacting online, say with social media, when we put avatars of ourselves, pictures of ourselves, that's like energy and personality that we present online, and then it gets taken in by the social media platforms, etc., and it represents it as a spectacle that others, like our friends and family and other people we might know, view it. And again, like oftentimes the reason that people go online is purely just to get entertained. So it's like, oh, we'll take the fodder of other people's lives as a form of entertainment. And a real dose of hyperreality in the political spectrum. This I came up with this headline, and I believe it's from the Washington Post, was done much before Zelensky, like before the Ukraine-Russia war. And it talks about the Ukrainian president's job before becoming president. He was a comedian before he became a politician and became the president. And so the funny thing is that he played a fictional sort of comedic president on TV, kind of like Veep, where the Selena Meyer character plays the VP and then eventually the president. And it's like, it would be like the idea of Julie Louis-Dreyfus playing that role, then eventually becoming vice president or president. So Zelensky played a comedic president, eventually he became real president of Ukraine. And it's like this idea that this hyperreality, this sign of life that we live in, it begets, like it gives birth to, and it's a precondition for the real. So it's almost like speaks something into reality. That was Baudrillard's Hyperreality and its impact on our digital life. My name's Dino. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to like this video. Please feel free to comment. Do you like the idea of hyperreality? Do you like the idea of signs? Are there signs that that represent parts of life that you see? Are you spending more time socializing and living your life online than you are offline? What are the impacts of that? Finally, if you like this type of video, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching. Take care.